Welcome to Lawyer Business Advantage. This podcast is dedicated to helping attorneys earn more money, get better clients, and spend more time with family. I'm your host, Alay and founder of law firm Success Group. Smart business guidance for small law firms begins in 3, 2, 1. And it's my pleasure to welcome to Lawyer Business Advantage Belal Hamideh with Belal Hamideh Law. Belal, welcome to the podcast, finally.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Alay. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a real delight to have you on the podcast, and I think this was one of the ways that we finally connected was on the podcast, and here you are as a guest, and I couldn't be happier to have you here. Um, this is an interesting time. You know, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of negativity in the world, and and there's a lot of reason for that. But people can get down sometimes. They can get really, down on themselves, down on their situation. And sometimes it's good to hear about what some other people have been through, to provide them with some motivation to move forward. And you have a really unique story about how you got into practicing law and how you actually came to this country. So we'd love to hear a little bit about, first off, your law firm and what you do, and then how you came to this country and came to be a lawyer.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. People go through a lot of stressful situation, but overcoming stress and challenge is the ultimate way that leads to growth as an individual, with your family, with your business. So I do want to encourage everyone that for every problem, there are multiple solutions, and just to have that type of mindset in approaching life and approaching business. We started the firm of Belal Hamideh 11 years ago now. Time flies. We do personal injury, workers' comp, some employment law, some class action. I was originally born in Peru. I came to the United States when I was 2 years old. I was the first in my family to go to college. I actually graduated high school when I was 15 years old. I took the California High School Proficiency exam in 10th grade, passed it, and started at a community college. And my whole life, I wanted to actually be an engineer because the two people of my family who actually went to college is my uncle on my mother's side and his father, my grandfather. And they were both engineers. So as a 15-year-old walking into El Camino College, I was looking at this paper that was on the wall that basically said what you needed to transfer to UCLA. That's the school that I wanted to go to. Engineering had a 3.8 GPA and economics had a 3.5. So I was telling myself, there's no way that I'm going to get a 3.8. I'm a 15-year-old kid starting college. I was extremely nervous. So I decided to major in economics. The funny thing is that I actually got a 4.0 in El Camino Community College, and I transferred into UCLA as an economics major. When I graduated at the age of 19 years old, I didn't really have much opportunity with a bachelor's degree in economics, and I wanted to continue my career in schooling. So the options were to get a master's in business or to become a lawyer. I didn't know that you didn't need to major in pre-law or anything like that. And as long as you had a bachelor's degree, law school was an opportunity for you. So I took that opportunity. I was the youngest kid in my law school, and I graduated at 22 years old from Pepperdine Law University. Beautiful campus, by the way.
Yes, yes, it is.
Um, and yeah, I mean, basically just hit the ground running from there and haven't stopped.
Wow, wow. So that's an amazing story, and there's a lot of adversity I'm sure you had to overcome as an immigrant to this country. And then someone who, had every opportunity, potential, every excuse not to succeed, but has been incredibly successful in pretty much everything you've done, which is phenomenal. But I want to talk a little bit something else, which is this is how you became a lawyer. But if you decided you didn't like the law, you could have changed and done something else. But you chose to stick with the law. What is it that inspires you to come to work and practice every day?
You know, to be a voice for the voiceless, to represent plaintiffs against conglomerate insurance companies and law firms whose main interest is to mitigate and minimize what they actually pay the deserving client. So as an immigrant to this country, you know, I feel like I was voiceless. And now with a law degree and an education and a opportunity to assist others that are in that same situation, it gives me a great passion to keep doing this every day and to turn injuries into victories and to fulfill that mission statement for my clients.
And you've been extraordinarily successful in doing that. And there's a lot of good things ahead as well. And one of the things that I'm really impressed with the job that you've done through the pandemic of keeping your team together. And not only that, but you actually have implemented a culture of remote work, which you're continuing to this day. That is not easy for law firms to do at all. Tell us a little bit about how that's gone for you.
Yeah, so when COVID hit in 2020, at that time I had multiple offices with everyone working in person. At that time, there was turnover, at least one or two employees per year that I had to replace with other team members. And it was very difficult to do that before COVID even hit because you have to train them for about 6 to 7 months. They become familiar with your caseload, with your clients, with your business practices. And then after 6 or 8 months, they want to see if there's a greener opportunity for them. And my experience in talking to other lawyers was that they experienced high turnover as well. So then when COVID hit, we had the opportunity to stay in the office, but I didn't want to put any of my team members in danger. I didn't want them to be at work feeling nervous or looking around their shoulder, or if somebody coughed, people would start freaking out. So we took all the computers home. The phone systems are a VoIP system, so you can connect them to any Wi-Fi or landline, and the extensions still work. And what I did some research on at that time was the software that was out there to implement into our systems, like time management softwares and things like that. So through leveraging technology, I actually was able to increase productivity with my team members and also to increase the loyalty to the firm due to them appreciating an opportunity that a lot of other law firms don't want to provide to their team members. Maybe because they don't trust them or they don't
Mm.
think they can handle working from home. But if you have the right people in place and they're well trained and you manage results instead of managing people, you will see that working remote actually increases productivity, decreases turnover, and increases the overall happiness and the culture of the firm.
That is fantastic and amazing and so reassuring to people like myself that really do believe that remote work is a terrific fit in a lot of ways. You mentioned some software that you put in place. Tell us about the software and what it's done for you and what it's done for the team.
Yeah, so one of the things that we use is Time Doctor. So basically, when they're only clocked in, it tracks what they're doing on their computer. If there's any unusually low activity or anything like that, it'll just log them out. And they understand that. Another thing is I use Maris Case for a case management software. Every activity that they do in a file is documented. Uh, there are graphs that show the activity of every team member per day, per week. And we've implemented KPIs, which is something that I did not have prior to COVID. It's something that I had to learn that you taught me in managing results and not people. So we measure weekly attorney fees, client signed, case management activity, 5-star reviews obtained, and things of that sort. and we have quarterly goals. We meet as a team every quarter by Zoom. We have annual goals, and then on the weekly one-on-one staff meetings that I have with each team member, we go through their KPIs, and I ask them, is there anything that I can provide to them so that they can handle more cases, handle them faster, and ultimately increase the client delight and satisfaction. So by implementing a combination of different technologies, different business practices, and managing results instead of managing people, you will see increased productivity and increased happiness and loyalty within your firm.
That's fantastic, Bilal. And thank you so much for acknowledging that we're working together. You're one of my best clients. I love working with you and your team. You mentioned a couple of times now managing results and not people. And that kind of sounds familiar to me. But for our audience of attorney entrepreneurs, they might be wondering what you mean by that. So can you elaborate on how you manage results and not people?
Right. So I manage results through the KPI, the key performance indicators. We set a goal at the beginning of the year for attorney fees, for client signups, for five-star reviews, and things of that sort. And then we break it down by quarter. So if the number is X of attorney fees as an annual goal, we break it down into fours. And then we go through them every week in one-on-one staff meetings to see where they're at, if they're ahead, if they're behind, and what we can do together so that we can reach those weekly, quarterly, and annual goals. Most importantly, for attorney fee revenue, new client signups to keep the firm going and healthy, and also the five-star reviews, which are important for any firm's reputation, any firm's ability to attract the new clients online.
And you guys are just crushing it. I mean, every time we talk, there's a new victory, a new win that you have made and that your team has made. Um, Love to hear from you about how maybe your mindset has changed, where before, when you weren't using the KPIs, you were more managing the people and managing a remote team, which I guess can cause a lot of anxiety. I don't know, but tell us a little bit about that too, how your mindset is now as you're managing, according to the KPIs.
Right. So when you work in an office and people are physically around you, I think that you have a human instinct to just kind of watch and see what people are doing. And that can lead to patterns of micromanaging, um, being, overly um, stressed out on what they're doing minute by minute. But that just gets them to be stressed out, leads to unproductivity, and ultimately leads to them wanting to find another firm where they're not going to be micromanaged and trusted that they can get their job done. So when they all left and I didn't see them anymore, what I shifted to is seeing more of the numbers, doing a monthly accounting, getting a monthly accounting from my bookkeeper, and just focusing more on the numbers, which are the results. So actually, when they're not around you, you focus more on the things that matter, not what they're doing every second, but the numbers and the results that they're bringing to the firm.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Bilal. That was fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. And um, how is remote work part of your firm's strategy for growth in the future?
Yeah, so as you look to grow, you can only really grow in a way and maintaining the results and the client service is you have to hire more team members. Now, the issue is when you're in person, you're limited to the geographic area that is next to your firm. People are not going to drive 2, 3, 4 hours to get to work. They probably don't want to drive more than 20 minutes. So when you're looking to grow your firm and you have your software and your technologies in place and your phone systems so that they can work from anywhere in the world, you now have expanded your talent pool of where you're looking to hire new team members. So you actually end up getting better candidates and ultimately a better hire in addition to your firm when you have remote workers.
And I guess because you have Maris and you have what was the other software?
Time Doctor.
Time Doctor. You do actually you can find out how much time they're actually putting in if you want to. And so you don't have to be as stressed out about what it is they're doing all day.
Exactly. And, it's all about having the right team member in your firm. If they are motivated and knowledgeable and hardworking, they are going to be good in an in-person or in a remote setting. If they are not knowledgeable, not hardworking, fool around, not committed, they are going to be unproductive in an in-person or a remote setting. So it all starts with having a large enough talent pool so that you make sure that you do land that right person for your firm. And ultimately, that right person will make any type of work environment work, whether it is remote or in person or a hybrid.
And you've now kept this current team that you have. You've been together for quite some time, right? About how long?
Everyone has been with me for at least 4 years.
For at least 4 years. And that's a change. I think that's over the 10-year period you've had your firm. There was a lot of turnover, but now the team has been in place for about 4 years. Yeah.
Definitely.
So about that 4-year mark, rewinding back, when you brought this team on board, what happened such that the turnover stopped and now you've got this really awesome cohesive group of people?
I think that team members in firms are overly managed and micromanaged, and people don't like that because in the end of the day, that leads to a lack of trust between the team member and their employer. And the main thing in any type of relationship, whether it be business or personal, is that trust. So when you're managing results and not people, they ultimately trust you more because they know that you trust them. And it's a reciprocal relationship. So yeah, you show them that you trust them when you let them work from home. And then they're more likely to reciprocate that trust with you. And it really strengthens that employer-employee bond and it leads to less turnover. They know your systems better. The clients always talk to the same people and it leads to consistency. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you have to replace somebody because they want to leave, you basically have to start that marathon over in regards to those cases. So I definitely recommend for anyone that can stomach and just trust their team members, let them work from home and you'll see that they are as or more productive and they will definitely be more loyal. You'll have more consistency and greater client delight in the long run.
That that's a really good message, Bilal. And I know there's some attorney entrepreneurs who are thinking about this as you're talking, saying, what if that doesn't happen? Like, what if I have my team go remote and maybe some of them are fine, but some of them, to your point, are the people that were goofing off in the office and now they're goofing off at home. What do I do?
What I say to them is that putting a person in a position to work from home is an easy way to determine if that is in fact the right person for your firm. So if you feel like they're slacking off, then the test is them working remote. So it's actually helpful to determine if that person is actually the right member for your team in the long run. So it's basically a test to that person. And if you're satisfied with the results, then they are the right person. If you're not satisfied with the results, they're the wrong person. And it doesn't matter if they work remote or in person. When they work remote, you naturally start to manage the results, and the results are what show you if that person is the right team member or not. Not if they're sitting at their desk for 8 hours and you don't know what they're doing, but you're just happy because they're sitting in that chair for 8 hours. I'd rather have someone who sits in their chair less and gets more done, because in the end of the day, the numbers, the results is what matters to the firm.
I think that's the point, right? It's the results. It goes back to the KPIs because if it's easy to kind of traditionally manage people to your point, if they're sitting there in a chair, kind of staring at their computer, but there may not be anything going on up here, right? Just kind of staring
Exactly.
away. Whereas if they're at home and they're working hard, um, the litmus test for all of this is those KPIs because if they're doing their job, those KPIs are going to look good. If they're not doing their job, those KPIs are going to look bad and they're going to start missing targets. And
Exactly.
it's not at that point, it's not the opinion of the managing partner that, yes, this person is doing well or this person is not. They actually have objective evidence one way or the other. And it's possible that they think someone's doing a bad job when they're actually doing a really good job and vice
Exactly.
versa. And that's the power of the KPIs is it kind of showcases the truth of what's going on.
Right. And in a lot of firms, like when the coworkers are around each other, they start to gossip, and it may lead to tarnishing a culture or problems internally. If the person wants to work remote and they are willing to do so from their home, there is no room for gossip. There is no room for tarnishing a culture. The culture is the results. And having that culture will ultimately lead to obtaining those results. And in the end of the day, that's what matters. And by the way, rent is extremely expensive. This is a
Yes.
benefit to the law firm because you're not paying massive amount of rent. And even if you were paying massive amount of rent, they're going to be stuck in a small cubicle. They're going to be claustrophobic. They're not going to be happy with the environment. And when they work from home, it's like rent-free, huge office because they have their entire home to use. So it's a benefit to the law firm. It's a benefit to the team member because they are comfortable. They're in an environment that they like, that they're comfortable with, in a spacious environment, in a quiet environment. And that ultimately leads to higher production for that team member.
Bilal, congratulations on your success. It's a joy to work with you and your team. What are you looking forward to in your law firm over the next year, year and a half?
To continue to serve clients and deliver on the mission of turning injuries into victories. We're very passionate about doing that. We don't do this for the money primarily. People who focus on that are ultimately not going to do good by their clients, and they are not going to be happy. Focus on turning injuries into victories, being an advocate for your client, changing their life in a positive way. And all the other good things that come from it are secondary and will naturally come. So, what I would uh, want all firms to do is to be client focused, not money focused, um, and to also focus on allowing their team members to be in an environment where they're comfortable, feel trusted, and can really strive for the firm.
And Bilal, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, they can reach us at the office at 562-276-2140. And if they want to speak directly to me, they can ask and I'll pick up the phone.
Awesome. Bilal, thank you so much for being on Lawyer Business Advantage. It's fantastic to be working with you.
Thank you, Alay. You are needle in a haystack that I found, and I count my blessings all the time that I have you on the team to help me reach and always increase on my goals. And I want you to continue to push me, the team members, because in the end of the day, the clients are the ones that benefit from that.
Here, here. Thank you. Everyone, that's Belal Hamideh, owner and managing attorney for Belal Hamideh Law.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bilal. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Lawyer Business Advantage podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other new potential listeners is for you to rate this show and leave a comment in iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you tune in to listen. And I want to hear from you, so connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know what you think of this episode. And if you are a solo or an owner of a small law firm and you're looking to earn more money, attract better clients, or reduce your stress, we would love to talk with you to see how we can help. Request your free law firm assessment by visiting lawfirmsuccessgroup.com. Again, that URL is lawfirmsuccessgroup.com. We look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you for listening. My name is Alay and Until next time, remember, you can seize freedom, you can embrace happiness, you can build your perfect practice.